Links to join the channel here over at subscribe or buy me a coffee, the various other links. So, celebrated idiot claims that editing Agatha Christie's work to insert her cultural Bolshevik Pravda levels political commissar propaganda hardly matters. Because you're a useful idiot. Idiots come in all shapes and sizes, and some of them have been very, very successful. And then after years, you look at them, and you look at people like Stephen King and the rest, and you go, "Whoa, how did this go on for so long? Where these idiots have been elevated?" And then you look at the stuff they wrote, and it's like, "Oh, it's good. Some of it's good, like none of it's great." And you go, "Yeah, he's worth $500 million." Okay, well then that's a deeper issue than anything that's going on right now. It's like there's so many issues beneath the surface that nobody is talking about. So the thing is, I was thinking about with this is that you've been self-censoring for decades now, and it's only when you get on Gab and Telegram and Odyssey that you start to think freely, that you realize how far the brainwashing has already been. It's this incremental brainwashing where you just self-censor, and it's only when somebody starts to take off the shackles that you look up and realize, oh, I'm a fish in water. You start to ask, like, well, wait, why aren't we free to speak certain words or criticize people? Why do we accept that you'll get your life destroyed for that? And like, do we openly accept that there are these non-governmental puppet masters who actually have more influence over your life than the government? And oh, of course, it'll destroy your life. Why don't we change that? Isn't personal liberty? Oh, it's a private company. But isn't individual liberty more important than $1 billion company? Aren't those left-wing values as well? It's like, turns out they're not left-wing values, and unfortunately they're not right-wing values either, because the left and the right is the same wings of the same bird. Anyway, so Gab, Odyssey, Telegram are safe spaces for free thought. And oddly enough, Gab is more polite than you'd think, because like, yes, you have free speech to say whatever epithets you want, but it's not just rife with epithets, because it's like, yes, you can say it. It's not an issue anymore. Like, say whatever you want, but it's not like you just wouldn't fill it because it'd be just kind of childish. Anyway, everything kind of changes when you say the things that the masters tell you must not say. It changes the way you see the world. And calling them masters or puppet masters, that's not hyperbolic. If people control the words you say, and the words you can even think, and you start self-censoring, it's like, well, then they've controlled your thought. If you self-censor, that, what is that but mind control? It's like, those are your masters. Like, they don't need to hold a whip and a rifle to be a master. They are the masters. They are in full control. And it's like, I'm not saying this because we need to accept it. I'm saying it because we need to change it. Anyway, this article has made me think of all kinds of things. So her Twitter history shows that she's been at the center of her own toxic left-wing echo chamber for a long time. It's just with social media and over the past like 10 to 15 years, when it really became ubiquitous, that you can see how dumb writers and artists actually are. That they're skilled in their area, but it's like they have depth in this one area, but everything else is really shallow. And they are shockingly stupid. Stephen King's another weird example, but in his defense, in some of his books, he's actually made fun of himself and his kind of like liberal elitist class. So he's a little bit more self-aware, and he did that in The Stand, and he's done it in a couple of books where he's made fun of people like himself, and even authors where he's clearly the self-insert in the book. So he's a little bit different. But he's had such insane levels of commercial success. But his stuff is good. It's just solid, and it's got some cool scenes in the books, and there are, I will say, great scenes within the books, but they're not great books, and I don't think any of them are going to stand the test of time. But the fact that they and the movies have made hundreds of millions of dollars says more about the globalist control of the publishing houses, and the tie-ins and the control they have over, back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s when he was huge, the bookstores at the time, because you were buying paper books. You take your allowance and go get a $3 or $4 book, and it was like you looked at the money and what you could spend money on, and if you were cheap like me, a pocket, like a $3 $4 pocketbook, was actually, you look for the word count. It's like that was a wiser use of your money than a comic book or candy or something else, because you could read it several times. Anyway, it says a lot about the globalist control of the publishing in Hollywood, more so about, well, the audience is just, look how dumb the audience are. They're the ones who bought it. You're like, not exactly. It's like things are selected, not elected. It's what's presented to people. And you don't have the free will that you thought you did if you're not, like, if the publishers and the bookstores are obviously they're the ones in control of what gets published and what gets presented to you. So it's not the audience is so dumb that they accept Stephen King as some kind of brilliant writer, and then Hollywood turns it into the movies. It's like they're all Hollywood, the bookstores, and the publishing companies. Those three industries are working together to absolutely control the narrative, to push out his stuff as if it's so commonplace, it must be brilliant. And then you read it like, wait a minute, something's wrong here. It's like they're not elevating the discourse. They're not moving us forward. They're just pushing schlock and like really mediocre material. As fun as some of his stuff is, it's fair to say it might be better than mediocre, but it's not. You look at it, it's like, oh, so his stuff has been like over $500 million. Okay, well then something's wrong with the whole industry if that's the reality of the situation. Anyway, I'm trying to say they push what they want to push. The days of the great writers are over because the publishing houses are all just cultural Bolsheviks pushing pox, wox, furry otherkin. Where the brutal reality is that the English, French, German writers are usually the best writers, that they have some weird hidden depth that others either just can't tap into or just don't have. And women almost never do. And I don't know if I can say that on YouTube, as I just said that. One of these days, I'll edit. So the answer to 1984 is, well, I'll leave it to your imagination, but don't say it in the comments. So Animal Farm, 1984, Fahrenheit 451, Brave New World, even The Time Machine were supposed to be warnings, not guidebooks. And to anticipate the liberals, what they think of as a death stroke question, yes, I would leave all books alone, even the And Then There Were None book. It had a spicy original title. And if you don't like the title, you just don't buy it. But yes, I believe that not one word should be altered or omitted. But, when the author changes something in their lifetime, that's different than posthumously. There is no offensive language. Some might take offense at language, but the language is not offensive. It's just language. It just is. The globalist media labels it offensive. I should probably stop using that G word. So they can control the thinking of the sheep. There are too many people today who were taught what to think and not how to think. They go from these participation trophy conclusionary schools where the blue-haired weirdo teacher is teaching you the conclusion, not how to think about it. And then they just go into these social media echo chambers where that conclusion is reinforced, but they're never taught that, knowing your opponent's argument is knowing your own. Like that concept is foreign to them. They're the party of censorship and deplatforming, where us on the right, or I don't know what you want to call our group, libertarianism, liberals, true liberals, maybe it's going full circle. Go, hey, yeah, read whatever you want to read, watch whatever movies you want to read, listen to all the speeches from the left and the right throughout history, read everything. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Can the left say that? Oh, well, you guys want to take the child prawn out of schools? Okay, let me amend this to say perhaps age appropriate. Once you're over, if your parents want to present the material to you, fine. The material is obviously available, but they say that and you go, oh, so I can present some other books that should be taught in schools. Are those in the school libraries? I can't even name them on YouTube, but you can probably name some of them. And they go, well, that's what? Yeah. I mean, if you want to have everything in school libraries, by all means, have everything in the school library if you believe that way. But like, why do you want to teach prawn to children so badly? Like a historical document is one thing, but you want to teach modern day prawn to children, like literally graphic images of that content. Why do you want to teach that to children so badly? Can't you at least wait until they're 18 and they can buy it on Amazon if they wish? Anyway, so the left is okay with not thinking critically because they think the schools and media are going in their direction. Not exactly, but they'll find out after it's too late. And, there's that concept of the last good working configuration for computers and whatnot. People think, like, this is why so much deck chairs on the Titanic to look at America. Like, you're not going to save all of America. You could save part of it because the last good working configuration was decades ago. It was over 50 years ago. You're not going to turn the ship around. It's like the Titanic is going down. There's nothing you can do to stop that. You can leave while you can and build something else. Put your energies into building something else rather than putting energies into fruitlessly trying to turn. Like that's the left and the right binary of, oh, we got to vote left this time, we got to vote right this time. It's like no. Abandon all that. That's all just the same bird is flying in the same direction. Like abandon that way of thinking. Anyway, so the parasites who control the Guardian control the narrative by labeling things so they can shape the thought around the thing. It's not just the Guardian. All of media is no longer the media. This has been going on for decades. Then I always say that it's so important to get to Gab and Telegram and Odyssey and realize how long the self-censorship is. And the longer you're on those alt platforms, you'll slowly start breaking out of it. And you go like, oh yeah, wait, why can't I say these things? Or why can't I criticize these groups? Or why can't we talk about these issues? Oh, because they'll destroy your life. Well, next question is, well, why do we allow that? Shouldn't we fix that aspect of society? No, no, no. It's good that these NGOs actually control America. My friend in Odin and Christ, they're not elected and they can't be fired. I mean, never mind. Why would we cede this battleground to these people? Oh, I don't know. It's just always been this way. Okay. So when you think of the media a few decades ago, you used to think of them making some attempt at trying to be unbiased and impartial. Those days have been gone for 40 years or more. The media is mask off. It's just another arm of the cultural bullshit to destroy society. Oh, and Millennial Woes, Way of the World, Black Pigeon, and a bunch of other channels I can't even mention. YouTube kicked off tens of thousands of channels after 2016 when a populist got elected. And Google decided they never wanted that to... Google and big tech, the ones who actually control the world, control the West, and control elections, decided they didn't want that to happen again. So Google, YouTube kicked off tens of thousands of people who helped shift the narrative. And nobody in the past 7 years has done anything about that. Anyway, so no, the media, if you think of the media as being unbiased, then the media is not the media because none of it is unbiased. The media, ADL, SPLC, ACLU, none of them are what they were supposed to be. They're just propagandists for the Frankfurt School globalist machine. And, eventually I'll be asked to leave too, just for saying those kind of words. Where we are now, the group to protect civil liberties won't protect the civil liberties of right-wing people or European Americans. You can study the subversion and corruption of the ACLU for yourself. Actual liberals have been shocked by the subversion of what was called the ACLU, civil liberties. If you don't fight constantly to protect your group, it will become infested by these worms. That's why you have to gatekeep to keep these bug people out. If you don't set borders and limits, eventually you'll be destroyed. Books are a snapshot into time. Once you change them to please the cultural Marxists, you've destroyed that snapshot. You took something original and you created propaganda. The books are period. They are the alpha and omega. They're not istophobic because you say they are. That's your current subjective opinion. The book is period. It's complete. You don't change the book by calling it phobic or insensitive. Your criticism will come and go and change and fade. The totality of the book will remain, unless, of course, you change the words in the book and pass it off as the book. It's no longer the book. The book was completed when the author died. Changing the book for the Frankfurt School political commissars make it not the book. It's now become modern-day Bolshevik propaganda. And how close do I want to fly? Let me see. To the sun on this next thing. Imagine you did this to a book, but you went in a different direction with it. Where if the antagonist had been portrayed in one direction, you changed. I'm not gonna fly that close to the sun. I'll just leave that. Anyway, these people are not human. They're every warning. They're every warning that is like, and the warnings coming from left wing people at the time would have been left wing people, but they're left wing liberals, who at the time believed in free speech. They believed in agency and free assembly. They believed in a lot of things, and the left wing is not the left wing anymore. It's the globalist left wing is not the socialist left wing of a few decades ago. That has all been changed. And it's a longer thing about the difference between the subversion from class issues to tribal issues. But that's probably as far as I can go for YouTube. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Thanks to everyone who went over to buy me a coffee and subscribe star. That's a dog snoring. And I will see you guys on the next episode.